anywhere. I don't think he's here to make us laugh and probably cry at the same time. So without further ado, I'd love to welcome Marshall Goldsmith up to the stage.
Can everyone hear me okay? Now, I'm not going to get up on the stage. I like to walk around. So when I have questions, I'll just have you raise your hand and give you the mic. That way everyone can hear the questions as well. So I'm just going to wander about. Now, before we start, one of the advantages of coming to a program like this is get to meet new people. You know all of the people sitting at this table, don't you? Yes. Guilty, guilty, guilty. Yet many of you are sitting with people you already know. That is now going to change. You're going to grab your books. You're going to grab your materials. You're going to stand up. You're going to find one person in this room you do not know and sit next to that person. Stand up! To your marks. Get set. Go! Find a new partner. Go, go, go. Okay, sit by your new partner. Sit by your new partner. By the way, no groups of 3, only groups of 2. So sit by your new partner. Okay, sit, sit, sit. Shh, 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 shh. Sit by your new partner. Sit, 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 sit. Now, shh, quiet please, quiet please. We are now going to practice peer coaching. In peer coaching, you are not here to judge your partner. You are not here to critique your partner. You are not here to put your partner down. You are here to help your partner. I want you to shake hands with your partner and say, partner, my name is, I'm here to help. Go, shake hands with your partner. Go, 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 go. Now I have an exercise program for today. My exercise program is I'm going to aimlessly wander around the room today. Wander around the room. That's my exercise program. And your exercise program is, as I aimlessly wander around the room, you're going to turn. So when you turn, I do not see the back of your head. So one rule today is I'd never want to see the back of your head. I aimlessly wander around. You're going to turn so I don't see the back of your head. So we're going to practice now. Aimlessly wandering around, wander. Now you turn, very good, so I don't see your head, very, very good. Now let me briefly introduce myself and we will begin. My name is Marshall. I'm from a small town called Valley Station, Kentucky. I went to undergrad school, a little engineering school, Rose-Hulman Institute of Technology, got an MBA at Indiana University, PhD at UCLA. I was a college professor and dean when I was very young. Then for 40 years, I've done 3 things. One is I give talks or teach classes like today. This is what I love to do the most. So I love speaking and teaching. I travel all around the world. Oh, we're going to have a contest. I've been to 97 countries. Let's see who wins the contest. Have any of you seen the movie Up in the Air with George Clooney? I have the card. Remember the little concierge card? I have that card. I can show it to you. How many frequent flyer miles do I have just on American Airlines? Write it down. We're going to have a contest. The winner's going to get a free book. Write it down. How many frequent flyer miles just on American Airlines? By the way, I've been to 97 countries. By the end of the next 2 weeks, I'll be up to 99. My next trip, I'm going to Turkey. I've been there before, but I'm going to Serbia, where I've never been, and to Georgia, the country Georgia. I'm going to that place as well. I've never been there either, so that'll be fun. Ever got a number? Okay, how many of you said 1 million frequent flyer miles or less? Inc. 2 million or less. Inc. 3 million or less. 5 million or less. Inc. Did anyone say 10 million? How many? Anybody have more than 10 million? How many? 300 million, not that much. How many? How much? And the answer is 11 million. Let's hear it for Libby, the winner over here. So I do have 11 million frequent flyer miles. So I'm kind of a mega flyer. By the way, I've been married 42 years, and my wife is a happy wife. Why is my wife so happy? I am gone half the time, right? So, by the way, I think we've been married 42 years. Attendance is greatly overrated as a marital virtue. So, being gone is good. Now, I also have 2 kids. My daughter Kelly is a graduate of Duke University. Some of you may have seen her before. She was on the American TV show Survivor Africa. So if you saw the 3rd season of Survivor, she was a little survivor. She worked with Mark Burnett 2 years. She did casting for Survivor, Amazing Race, went back, got a PhD at Yale. And she just got tenure now, so she's a tenured faculty member at Vanderbilt University. So Daddy's very proud, yeah. And then my son Brian was a completely useless dropout. Age 28, he's had a career of getting drunk and stoned, but now he's rich, so go figure. You know? The only negative is my poor daughter's going, wait, I was the good one. Let's see, what else do I do? So I give talk, and then what I'm most famous for is I coach executives. If you've heard the term executive coach, I'm the most famous executive coach. I've been the coach of the CEO of Ford, Pfizer, Glaxo, president of the World Bank, head of the Mayo Clinic, on and on and on. And coaching, what I love about coaching, that's where I learn everything. All the stuff in my book, I didn't get that from going to school. I learned that from coaching real people. And then the final thing I do is I do writing. I've done, like I said, it was 35. After now, I just did another book, so it's now 36 books. Most of these books have been purchased only by my mother, my father, and assorted relatives. On the other hand, the book you have, that was purchased by 1.5 million people. So, you know, learning point, just keep throwing it out there, and eventually you get lucky. I give all my material away. So go to my website, www.marshallgoldsmith.com. You may copy, share, download, duplicate, use in church, charity, school, nonprofit. Use any of my material in any way that you wish. And I love getting emails. Marshall@marshallgoldsmith.com. Send me an email. If you send me an email, I cannot promise to get back to you immediately because I get a ton of emails. I always get back to people eventually. You just make it a little while. Now, the final thing, we're going to do something new. It's not on the agenda. I'm working on a new program. I am now adopting people. I went to a program called Design the Life You Love, and we're going to practice this right now, so get ready. The program is run by a great friend of mine, Ayşe Bursel. Ayşe is from Turkey. She designed this program, Design the Life You Love. I'm sitting there in the program. She said, who are your heroes? So I write down the names of my heroes. Then she said, why are these people your heroes? Well, it turned out all my heroes were incredibly generous people, and they were great teachers. So she said, why don't you be more like them? I thought, well, that's nice. I should be more like, if they're my heroes, why aren't I more like them? I decided I was going to adopt 15 people. So I said, I'm going to adopt 15 people, teach them everything I know for free, lifetime mentoring, and the only price is when they get old, they have to do the same thing, pay it forward. So I made a little selfie video and put it on LinkedIn. 12,000 people applied to be adopted. It was the most widely viewed video in the history of LinkedIn. Now I'm going to adopt 100 people, and I've already got the first 55 selected, and it's just been a wonderful, wonderful project. So this little exercise kind of changed my life. Now we're going to do it for you. I'm going to ask you to write down the names of 2 or 3 people in your life who are your heroes. Then you're going to say, here is why this person was a hero of mine. By the way, don't have to be alive. Could be a hero from a book. I don't care. Just who are your heroes? Why is this person a hero to me? Then you're going to talk to your partner and say, good partner, here are these people that are my heroes. Here's why they're my heroes. And maybe here's a little change I could make in my life so I could be a little bit more like these people who are heroes to me. Does that make sense? To your marks, get set, go! Who are your heroes? Why are they your heroes? And then how could you be a little bit more like these heroes? Okay, talk to your partner. Who are your heroes? Why are they your heroes? And what's one change you can make in your life to be a little bit more like these heroes of yours? So how can you be more like your hero? Now move forward. What's one thing you could do even better to be like her? I'm going to give you a challenge here. Think about that. Okay, let's stop for a second. Shh, shh. Who's one of your heroes?
I said Ellen DeGeneres.
Why? Why's your hero?
I think, 20 years ago, she came out with something that I felt was, at that point in time, hard for people to receive, adapt to, and she trailblazed, right? And she pushed the agenda very forward, and we accepted her. And so I just think that was an example that I used here.
How could you be a little more like her?
So I do think I trailblaze today. I think that, maybe one of the things that I could do is really sort of drive what I think harder agendas within my organization, push them forward, be a little bit more vocal about them.
A little more risk.
Be a little bit more.
Let's hear it for her. Yay! Okay, let's see. Who's one of your heroes?
I put my mom
Why?
because she's very patient, and I think that's something that I can work on.
You can be a little more like yourself.
Yes.
Let's hear it for her. Yay! Well, this exercise is a great exercise to get us to focus on who's important to me, why are they important, and if these people are my heroes, why aren't I more like them? And I will say, just speaking for myself, the exercise changed my life. This program is a large part of my life right now, this adopting people thing. And it wouldn't have happened if it weren't for this little exercise. So I owe a great debt to Aisha. By the way, she is one of the women I've adopted in the exercise now. So she is one of my 100 adoptees. Now, what are we going to be talking about today? I'm going to understand the concept of triggers, how we create our world and how it creates us at the same time. I'm going to tie this into the concept of mindfulness, understand why we don't achieve our goals, and share some practical tools that going to help you use structure to improve your own life, understand how our identity is formed and shapes our behavior. I'm going to share something that takes, at the end, 3 minutes a day, costs nothing, it's going to help you get better at almost anything. Now, some of you are skeptical. 3 minutes a day, costs nothing, help me get better at almost anything. That sounds too good to be true. Half the people that start doing this quit within 2 weeks. And they do not quit because it does not work. They quit because it does work. Everything I'm going to teach you today is going to be incredibly easy to understand. It's just difficult to do. If you read my book, What Got You Here Won't Get You There, you read funny story after funny story after funny story. How many of you have read this book before? Yeah, several of you. It's tempting to read that book and think, what a bunch of idiots. How could those people have been so stupid? The idiots in the book all have IQs of 150, and they're all CEOs of multi-billion-dollar companies. Well, I'll tell you, this stuff is very easy to understand. This stuff is very, very hard to do. Then I'm going to talk about some of the unique challenges of women leaders and focus on how we can have more happiness and less guilt. By the way, I just want to validate from my perspective, the other women got up and said, the average woman is seen as a better leader than the average man. This is not a theory. This is a well-documented statistical fact, as was presented earlier. You did mention Kouzes and Pozner. Their research says the same thing. The average woman is seen as a better leader than the average man. Now, this doesn't mean every woman is seen as a better leader than every man. It just means statistically, the average woman is seen as a better leader than the average man. This is not a theory, it's a fact. For the women in the room, the average woman has one issue to deal with consistently and amazingly more than the average man. Yes, I see it in many of your faces. I think I may see it in you. What is this disease? The desire to be the perfect everything to everyone. Women statistically carry around one thing far more than men. What is that called? Guilt. Guilt. One coaching I have for women, much more than men. We're going to focus on that today. Please do not be so hard on yourself. Please do not be so hard on yourself. I'm writing a new book on women in leadership with my friend Sally Helgeson. She's wrote The Female Advantage and The Web of Inclusion. So we're writing a book together. She's taking this book and applying it more specifically to women leaders, how to help women leaders become more effective. Sally and I were just talking. She gave me a great quote, which I'm probably going to butcher, but I'll do my best anyway. It sounds something like this. The definition of motherhood has become more labor-intensive than in any time in the history of the world, at the same time when more and more women are given 50-hour-a-week jobs. Think about this. The definition of motherhood has become more labor-intensive than any time in history, yet a woman is given a 50-hour-a-week job. My mother did not watch all the track meets, and I really didn't care. I made it okay. Well, one of the things I'm going to focus on today is just don't be too hard on yourself and don't be too guilty. There are a few men in the room. Men, look up here, please. Yes, men, there are learnings for us in this stupid and unfortunate Center for Creative Leadership Research. Yes, men, for us, there's a little bad news. Yet, men, there's good news. The bad news for us men is, statistically, as leaders, as was pointed out, we must tell the truth. We're not as good. Good news is, we don't care. And then I'm finally going to talk about how you can be a better coach and have a happier life. Now, what happens? As we journey through life, what happens? Well, I have a theory. If I ask any of you to describe this person that you want to become, you would describe this wonderful person. A great friend, family member, hard worker, perfect parent, in perfect physical condition, yada, 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 yada. We would all describe this perfect human being. What happens? Why don't we become these perfect people? As we journey through life, millions of people around the world are depressed, disengaged, not achieving goals. By February, the gym is empty. What happens? What goes wrong? Well, as we journey through life, we're constantly bombarded by triggers. What is a trigger? A trigger is any stimulus that may impact our behavior. It could be a sight, a sound, a word, a person. Any stimulus is a trigger. In some cases, these triggers push us toward becoming the person we want to be. In most cases, they push us away from becoming the person that we want to be. Now, who is in control in life? As we journey through life, who's in control? We can look at this from two dimensions, external control, internal control. External control, the world controls me. I'm like a puppet that is controlled by triggers in the environment. Internal control, I create the world. I control the world. If we look at 4 different schools of thought, and by the way, very bright people believe in each of these 4 schools. One of them is called the random walk. Life is a random walk. Low internal control that makes any sense, low external control. Life is just a random crapshoot. The second one is I create the world. This is high internal control and low external control. Have any of you ever been to a motivational speech before? Motivational speech. They're always the same. Jimmy was tired and poor and sick and blind and couldn't find a date, and now Jimmy has 3 wives. It's always the same. Always the same story. Motivational speech, always the same. They always tried out these poor, sick, dying people, and then they worked hard, and now they're successful, and Jimmy did it. You can do it. The ultimate epitome of this is a book called The Secret. Have any of you ever read this book, The Secret? The book sold 7 million copies, one of the most ridiculous books ever published, sold 7 million copies. The essence of The Secret is, if I envision it, it will happen. And by the way, every story in the book is true. Jimmy couldn't play ball. He envisioned becoming the champion. Now he is. Mary wanted to be a movie star. She envisioned it. Now she is. Harry had cancer. He envisioned it went away, and it did. Every story was true. I have a degree in math. There was a minor problem in the research. They didn't interview the dead people. They did not interview the 1,000 waitresses in Hollywood who envisioned being movie stars, and they did not interview the basketball team that lost. They only interviewed the winners. By the way, I believe if you have positive thoughts, you will make the world better, and you will improve your odds. But to naively believe just because I envision it's going to happen is ridiculous. I know this from personal experience. If everything I envisioned would have happened, my sex life as a teenage boy would have been a hell of a lot better than it was. Because I did a whole lot of envisioning and absolutely nothing ever happened. Now, the next school of thought is B.F. Skinner, the famous Harvard psychologist. High external control, low internal control. The world creates me. We're basically like a stimulus response machine, and we are being created by the world. And his feeling was willpower is a myth. They were basically just controlled by the environment. In my book, Triggers, I talk about something called mutual creation. What does that mean? I am creating my world. And at the same time, triggers in my world are creating me. I am creating it, and it is also creating me. I'm not hopeless. I do have some say in what's going on here. I'm not just a victim. On the other hand, I'm not God either. I'm not above the environment. Bad things can happen to good people. I am creating my world, and at the same time, my world is creating me. And the whole idea of this is just get you a little bit more toward I am creating the world, and a little bit less that the world's creating you. Does this make sense? Now, fate. Fate is the hand of cards we've been dealt. And as you journey through life, we have all been dealt the hand of cards. The one thing in life you cannot change is the hand. The one thing in life we cannot change is the past. The past is over. Choice is how we play the hand. You can't control the hand you've been dealt. The one thing you can't control is how you play that hand. You can't control yesterday. The one thing you can control is now, today. Typically, and this was mentioned, I'm going to just use the word awareness, but I could substitute the word mindfulness, same idea. Typically, as we journey through life, and this is very parallel to what you said, there is a trigger. The trigger produces an impulse. That impulse leads to a behavior. The whole idea of my book is there will still be a trigger. It will still lead to an impulse, but to the degree we can breathe. Mindfulness, become aware of what's going on. Then we realize our behavior is a function of a choice, not a function of an impulse. Now, positive case study, negative case study. First, we'll start with the negative. I was interviewed in the Harvard Business Review and asked a question. What is the number one problem of all of the successful people you have coached over the years? What is their number one problem? And yes, as I look around the room into your eyes, I sense the problem in this very room. Yes, I feel some of you may be afflicted with this very disease. What was my answer? Winning too much. What does this mean? If it is important, we want to win. Meaningful, win. Critical, win. Trivial, win. Not worth it? Win anyway. Winners love winning. In the game of life, you're winners. If you were not winners, you wouldn't be sitting here. It's incredibly hard for winners not to constantly win. I'm now going to give you a case study of winning too much that almost all of my clients fail. By the way, I have worked with many medical doctors, and virtually 100% failure in the case study, by the way. Okay. Almost all of my clients fail. Almost all of you will fail the case study. And when I say fail, you'll fail yourself. Here is the case study. You want to go to dinner at restaurant X. Your husband, wife, friend, or partner wants to go to dinner at restaurant Y. You have a heated argument. You go to restaurant Y. It was not your choice. The food tastes awful, and the service is terrible. Option A, critique the food. Point out our partner was wrong. This mistake could have been avoided had only you listened to me, me, me. Option B, shut up. Eat the stupid food. Try to enjoy it and have a nice evening. What would I do? What should I do? Almost all my clients, what would I do? Critique the food. What should I do? Shut up. How many people in the room, please raise their hands, have ever critiqued the food before? Hands in the air. A room filled with food critiquers. Was that smart or stupid? Stupid. Very stupid. And as stupid as that was, I'm going to give you an example now that is so hideously stupid, it will make that one pale by comparison. And yes, I will predict at least half the people in the room have done this before. Case 2. You have a hard day at work, a hard day, under so much pressure. Push, push, push. Such a hard day today, such a tough day. You go home, more numbers everywhere, more. You go home. Your husband, wife, friend, or partner is there, and the other person says, I had such a hard day today. I had such a tough day. And we reply, you had a hard day. You had a hard day. Do you have any idea what I had to put up with today? Do you think you had a hard day? We are so competitive, we have to prove we are more miserable than the people we live with. I gave this example to my class at the Dartmouth Tuck School. A young man in the back raised his hand. He said, I did that last week. I asked him, what happened? He said, my wife looked at me. She said, honey, you just think you've had a hard day. It is not over. Now, I'm going to give you a case study from my book, Triggers. An email I received that is in the book. If any of you would write me such a book or such an email, I would be very proud of today. And email is going to be exactly what you talked about. A young man sent me an email about 5 years ago. He said, I know you do not remember me. He said, I was in your class 5 years ago. He said, I want to send you an email today and say thank you. He said, yesterday my wife was having a terrible day. And she called me up on the phone. And I was under all kinds of pressure. And she was talking about what a bad day she was having. And I was just getting ready to point out how her problems paled in significance to my own. He said, for some reason, I remembered your little course. I started breathing. And I thought, this is my wife. This is someone I love. This is not the enemy. I just said, I love you. Thank you for everything you've done for the family. He said, I went home, spent $25. I bought her some flowers. I gave her the flowers. And I said, I love you. He said, that was the best $25 I've ever spent. Thank you so much. Well, the next time we get into that, let me prove I'm right. Let me show you how smart I am. Take a deep breath. Ask a question. What am I winning? What am I winning here? Talk to your partner 20 seconds and answer this question. When is one time in the past you had a need to win and prove that you were right and you should not have been fighting the battle in the first place? Go! Talk to your partner. Talk. So what's one for you?
Huh?
What is one for you? You had to win, you shouldn't have fighting battle.
I'm kind of like the polar opposite. If someone gets super competitive with me, I kind of walk away because I don't like being put in that position. So
That's good. All right, when's one time for you?
We were saying, the example you gave, we've been really committed to.
You done the same thing.
Of course.
Okay, stop. Shh. Stop. Okay, your name is?
Oh, Sarah.
Sarah.
Hi.
Give us an example for you.
We were just talking about how your example was very relevant, especially when you have a spouse and you both have high pressure jobs, and being able to compare who had a harder day doesn't really help anything.
So you both have been into contests with your partners to prove that you were indeed harder working than they were, and their misery paled in comparison to your own. Very good. Let's hear it for these two. Very good. Well, one other one I get in my book, this book that you got, it says number one problem is winning too much. Number two is called adding too much value. Now, what does that mean? I'm young, smart, enthusiastic. I come to you for an idea. She's my leader. She thinks it's a great idea. Rather than just saying great idea, our natural tendency is to say, that's a nice idea, Why don't you add this to it? The problem is the quality of the idea may go up 5%. My commitment to execute may go down 50%. It's no longer my idea. Now it's your idea. Incredibly difficult for smart, successful leaders not to constantly go through life adding value. One of my good coaching clients retired after several years ago. His name is J.P. Garnier. J.P. was the CEO of a very large drug company, GlaxoSmithKline. I asked J.P., what'd you learn about leadership as the CEO of this huge drug company? He said, I've learned a very hard lesson. My suggestions become orders. My suggestions become orders. Now, he said, if they're smart, they're orders. If they're stupid, they're orders. If I want them to be orders, they are orders. And if I do not want them to be orders, they're orders anyway. 9 years I trained the admirals in our fine United States Navy. What's the first thing I teach the new admirals? When you get that star, your suggestions become orders. Admirals do not make suggestions. When an admiral makes a suggestion, what is the response? Sir, yes, sir. That suggestion becomes an order. Every time you get promoted in life, this lesson will become more real for you. Every time you get promoted in life, this lesson will become more real for you. And one of the challenges that women leaders have more than men, the excessive desire to help. Now, in this disease, I'm a little bit more like a woman than a man. I am a helpaholic myself. My name is Marshall Goldsmith. I am a helpaholic. Great is the need of the student to learn. Far greater is the need of the teacher to teach. Sometimes I'm going on a flight. In fact, I'm always going on flights. Sometimes I'm going on an 8-hour flight. Sometimes some poor woman sits next to me. Occasionally, she makes an awful mistake. She looks up, she goes, "What do you do for a living?" 8 hours later, I look over, the poor woman goes, "Why did I ask? Why did I ask?" Well, it can be very hard not to constantly go through life adding value. And oftentimes, really, those other people, they're not that concerned about our need to add value. Let's see. Let me think if I can come up with a case study. The other thing I want to teach you is when you try to help other people, they have to kind of want to learn. One thing I've learned in my job as a coach, there's two famous leaders I worked with I always quote. One of them is Alan Mulally. Alan was the CEO of the Ford Motor Company, and the other one is Frances Hesselbein. She was the CEO of the Girl Scouts. I mean, just two unbelievable human beings, just wonderful people. So in my coaching, I have a unique billing philosophy. I don't get paid if my clients don't get better. I don't get paid 1 cent if my clients don't get better. Better is not judged by me or them, it's judged by everyone around them. Now, there's a great way to test if someone believes what they're saying. You can ask a person one question and instantly determine their level of belief. I've never seen the question fail. What is that simple question? Do you want to bet on it? Do you want to bet on it? Now, if they say, I believe it, but I do not want to bet on it, what'd you learn? They don't believe it. They say, here's the money. They believe it. I bet on this every time. When you get paid for results, you learn humility. The client I coached, I spent the most amount of time with, did not improve at all, and I did not get paid. The client I coached, I spent the least amount of time with, 200 people got better, and I did get paid. This was a humbling lesson. Anybody background in engineering or math or something like that? Well, yeah, if you have a technical background, you'll appreciate this. I made a chart. On one dimension, it said time spent with Marshall Goldsmith. The other dimension was called improvement. There was a clear negative correlation between spending time with me and getting better. Well, I thought, this is a troubling chart. So I go talk to my client who improved the most, who I spent the least amount of time with, my friend Alan Mulally. Alan was the CEO of the Ford Motor Company, CEO of the year in the United States. Stock went from $1 to $18.40. By the way, a mark of how good he was, this is a UAW, a union company. Do they normally love CEOs? No. When he left Ford, he made $400 million himself. Do they love CEOs that make $400 million? Not too much. When he left Ford, they knew he was the CEO. They knew he made $400 million. He had a 97% approval rating from every employee in the company. The highest approval of any CEO in the United States. In a union company. Why? He saved the company. And he didn't take 1 cent of our United States government taxpayer money. A little round of applause for this guy. Good guy. So I go talk to my friend Alan. If you don't learn anything else from me but these 2 lessons, you're going to be a better coach and have a happier life. And women have more difficulty with these lessons than men. Okay, ready? I talked to my friend Alan. I said, Alan, of all the people I coached, you improved the most. I spent the least amount of time with you. I showed Alan my chart. I said, Alan, the way this troubling chart looks, had you never met me, you would really be good. So I asked my friend Alan, what should I learn about coaching from you? He taught me 2 lessons, which I'm going to share with you. He said, lesson number 1, your biggest challenge as a coach is called customer selection. If you pick the right customer, your coaching process always works. You pick the wrong customer, it never works. He said, 2, never make the coaching process about yourself and your own ego and how smart you think you are. Make it about those great people you work with and how hard they work and how proud you are of them. Then he said, as a CEO of Ford, my job isn't that different. He said, I don't design the cars. I don't build these cars. I got to have great people. Then he said, every day I tell myself, leadership's not about me. Leadership is about them. For the great individual achiever, it is all about me. For the great leader, it's all about them. Every woman in this room, you're a pretty good individual achiever, or you would not be sitting in this room at this time. That does not mean you're going to be a good leader. There's a big difference between I'm a great achiever and I'm a great leader. That's the difference between me and them. Most of us never understand these points. Now, I have a question. Are the fine women in this room, are these women of high ethics, values, and integrity? Yes or no? What do you think? She says, absolutely yes. I'm going to test that right now. Yes, I'm going to ask you all a question. A troublesome question. Yes, perhaps a personal question. Even an embarrassing question. If the answer is yes, you must raise your hands. Are we ready? How many people in this very room are still stupidly attempting to change the behavior of a husband, wife, or partner who has absolutely no interest in changing? Get these hands up in the air. Come on, hands in the air. Look at this. She couldn't wait to raise her hand. Her hand was leaping into the air. How many years have you been engaged in this futile partner-changing crusade? How many years has it been now?
3.
Only 3. A mere beginner. A mere beginner in the world of stupidity. Only you're tired. It's only been, you don't know tired. All right, how many people in the room have been doing this a whole lot longer than 3 years? Come on. How many years for you? 22. 22 wasted years. Can anyone top 22? How many? 24. 30. Can anyone defeat 30? Let's hear it for the futility champion. Now, what's this person's name?
Dulles. Like Dulles Airport?
Dulles. Look up here. Breathe. I want you to smile. Go hand. Let it go or let Dulles go. All right, now I have a second question. Another troublesome, personal, or embarrassing question. Much more of an issue with women than men. If the answer is yes, you must raise your hands. How many people in this very room are still stupidly attempting to change the behavior of mommy or daddy who has no interest in changing? Come on. Parental change agents. Mommy, daddy, or both? Mother-in-law. Even worse, right? How about you? Mommy, daddy, or both? Mother, how many years?
My mother is 87.
87. No luck yet. Look up here. Look up. Now, you'll appreciate this. I was teaching my class at Dartmouth. A woman raised her hand. I said, are you trying to change mommy or daddy? She said, daddy. I said, what is daddy's problem? She said, he does not have a healthy lifestyle. I said, how old is daddy? She said, 94 years old. Leave the old boy alone, right? You want to smoke a cigar, old man? Smoke two. Smoke pot, who cares? He's 94 years old. Now, I'm going to teach you a lesson. It's going to help you have less guilt, and I'm going to save you lots of time, and you're going to be a better coach and be happier. Are you ready? What is this lesson in terms of coaching adults? If they do not care, do not waste your time. If they do not care, do not waste your time. How much of our lives have been wasted attempting to change the behavior of adults that have absolutely no interest in changing? Vicki, have you been doing this over the years? Vicki, how many years have you been attempting to change these adults that don't care? Many years. Is that correct, Vicki? Vicki, look up here. I want you to raise your right hand. Raise your right hand. I want you to repeat after me. My name is Vicki.
My name is Vicki.
Not Jesus Christ. How about that saving people thing? Let it go, let it go, let it go. By the way, any of you have teenage kids? Yeah, how about all those small points you've been trying to win off the teenage kids? Yeah, how about proving they're wrong all the time? How's that working out for you? Not so well. Win all the big stuff. Win the big stuff. All that. Everybody look up here. All that little stuff. I want you all to smile. Smile. I want everybody to take a deep breath, do your hand like this and go, let go, let go. Win the big things in life. Do what matters. All that important stuff, all that little stuff, just take a deep breath and let it go. Now, why don't people do what I teach? I'm going to make a prediction. I'm the only teacher you've ever met in your life that's collected research from tens of thousands of people who've been in my classes, and I measure, do they do what I teach, and do they get better? Well, I got some good news. People do the stuff, get better. I got even better news. People who do nothing, don't get worse. It's all good here. Now, why don't people do what I teach? Years ago, my biggest client was a company called Johnson & Johnson. Do all of you know this company, Johnson? I worked with the CEO at the time, Ralph Larson, all the way down to person 2000. And they all got feedback, 360 feedback, and they all picked something to improve, and I asked them to talk to people and follow up, and we measured, do they get better? Well, the ones that did the stuff got better, and the ones that didn't stayed the same. At the end of my class, 98% of the leaders said, I'm going to do what Marshall just taught. 98%. A year later, 70% had done something, and 30% zero. Not 1 second. By the way, I'm not ashamed of these numbers. I'm proud. 70% of 2,000 people is 1,400 people getting evaluated by 10 coworkers each. 14,000 people had a little better life. I'm not ashamed of that. I got to interview the people who did nothing. I said, why'd you do nothing? Their answer had nothing to do with ethics, values, or integrity. They won an award that year. Most ethical company in the world. They're good people. I'm sure you're good people. Had nothing to do with intelligence. Well, they're smart. I'm sure you're smart. The reason people did nothing had to do with a dream. Yes, this is a dream women have much more than men. A ridiculous dream. This dream is going to describe why in life you haven't done all that stuff that you know you should. Some of you are skeptical now. You're thinking, he does not know my dreams. Don't bet against me on the dream thing here. What's this dream sound like? You know, I'm incredibly busy right now. Given pressures of work and home and new technology that follows me everywhere, and emails and voicemails and competition and the family, I feel about as busy today as I've ever felt in my entire life. Sometimes I feel overcommitted. I do not tell others this, but every now and again my life feels just a little bit out of control. But you know, I'm working on some very unique and special challenges right now. And I think the worst of this is going to be over in about 4 or 5 months. And after that, I'm going to take 2 or 3 weeks and get organized. And I'm going to spend some time with the family, and I'm going to begin my new Healthy Life program. And after that, everything is going to be different, and it will not be crazy anymore. Has anyone in the room ever had a dream that vaguely resembles that dream? You were having the dream the entire time I was speaking. How many years you've been having the same stupid dream? 10 wasted. Look up here. Smile. Hand. There's not going to be any 2 or 3 years. Sanity's not going to be prevailing here. Tomorrow's going to get crazier than today. Now, are any of you in a job that has 2 characteristics? 1, you have a boss, and 2, you have to make some target or number every year. Who's got a boss and you got some targets? You got a boss, you got targets, right? Your name is? Nikki. Let's all pretend that Nikki overachieves this year by 25% above all targets. Let's hear it for Nikki, 25% above all targets. Yes, Nikki. Nikki, if that happens, what's the odds a big boss is going to come back and say next year, Nikki, take a break? No, Nick, you're working too hard, Nikki. We're going to lower the goals. Is that going to happen, Nikki? No. How about next year's goal? Raise your right hand, repeat after me. My name is Nikki. And it's always going to be crazy. It's always going to be crazy. Now, are any of you entrepreneurs that run your own business? Hey, entrepreneur. Oh, we've got some entrepreneur. You're an entrepreneur back there? Your name is? Let's pretend Rhonda overachieves on every one of her goals by 25%. Let's hear it for Rhonda over here. Yes, Rhonda. Woo! 25% above all targets. Rhonda, if that happens, what are the odds you're going to come back to Rhonda next year and say, take a break? Let's lower the goals. What's going to happen to your goals?
They're going to raise.
Raise your right hand and repeat after me. It's a little different, Nikki, than yours. See, Nikki said, it is always going to be crazy. I want you to repeat after me. My name is Rhonda. And I am always going to be crazy. See, you can't blame it on some other nutcase. Who's that nutcase that's driving right? It's all about Rhonda, right? Well, you see, it doesn't matter if you work for somebody else. It doesn't matter if you're your own boss. We all have this delusion somehow next year is going to be different. Not really. Not really. All we do is just raise the standards. Now, what are the classic delusions that we have as we journey through life? One is called the planner bias. We believe the person that's making those plans for us in life is the same person executing the plans. Wrong. That planner that's planning to go on that healthy food diet is not that hungry doer at the end of the day looking at the chocolate cake. The planner is real different than the doer. We believe if I understand, I will do. Wrong again. When this book, What Got You Here Won't Get You There, was the #1 best-selling business book in the entire United States, the #1 best-selling diet book in the entire United States, sold 10 times as many copies. Americans get fatter and fatter and fatter while purchasing more and more diet books. If purchasing diet books would make you thin, Americans would be the thinnest people who have ever lived. You don't lose weight because you purchase a diet book. You got to go on a diet. I made one mistake with this book. Too late now. The title. I love the title, What Got You Here Won't Get You There. Had to write this book over, I would have changed the title. I should have named the book, What Got You Here Won't Get You There, Diet. Then I would have really sold a lot of copies. As we make our plans for life, we say it won't take that long. Yeah, yes, it will. It won't be that hard. Yeah, it's almost invariably harder than we think. It takes longer. And the high probability of low probability distractions. What does that mean? Every day, we never plan on a low probability distraction. Why? Because you don't plan on the computer breaking, the car breaking down, your aunt died, somebody has a health problem. We don't plan on any of these things. Why? What are the odds? The odds on any one of them happening are small. The odds on something happening are almost certain. We never plan on anything going wrong. Well, that's not the way the world works. In the real world, stuff does go wrong all the time, day after day after day. We schedule to the very edge. We schedule if everything today is going to be perfect, I'll get all this stuff done. Unfortunately, everything today isn't perfect, and I don't get it all done. I love this one. One of the reasons our delusions, why don't we do what we know we should? You see, because today is a special day. So I'm going to go on that diet, but it's the Super Bowl, you see. So I had pizza and guacamole today. It's a special day. Well, I'm going to do that, but today's my birthday. It's a special day. It's my mother's birthday. It's my cousin's birthday. It's got to be somebody's birthday, right? Well, when we don't want to do something, we have this gift of making every day a special day to get us out of doing it. We believe we have the wisdom and courage to evaluate our own behavior. Wrong. 70% of us think we're in the top 10% of our professional peer group. 82% of us believe we're in the top 20, and 98.5% of us have concluded we are in the top half. This is not a theory, it's a fact. Successful people are delusional. And by the way, the more successful we become, the more delusional we get. Have any of you been promoted in the last couple of years? Did you notice your jokes got a little funnier? Those comments a little more profound. Well, every time we get promoted, they laugh at our jokes. They act like our comments are profound, right? It's hard to realize this is not real. We believe we have willpower, and we won't become depleted, and we don't need help. This is my deepest learning over the last several years. We all need help, and it's okay. We all need help, and it's okay. None of us have all that willpower. We all need help. Let me give you a personal example. I pay a woman to call me on the phone every day. Every day I pay her to call me. Every day she listens to me read comments I wrote and provide answers I wrote every day. Well, somebody said, why you pay some woman to call you on the phone every day? Don't you know the theory about how to change behavior? I wrote the theory about how to change behavior. That's why I pay a woman to call me every day. My name is Marshall Goldsmith. I'm the world's leading executive coach. I got ranked #1 leadership thinker in the whole world last year. I pay a woman to call me on the phone every day just to listen to me read questions I wrote and provide answers I wrote every day. Why do I do this? I'm too cowardly to do this by myself. I'm too undisciplined to do this by myself. I need help. And it's okay. It's okay. Once we get over that silly macho nonsense if I can do it on my own, life is better. For example, who needs to be a better listener? Better listener, raise that hand. How many years have you been needing to become a better listener? Cecilia, how many years now? Roughly.
Since I was born. No, since I can talk. Or
since you can remember. We'll say years, right? Many years. Is that correct? Many years. Yeah. Raise your right hand and repeat after me. My name is Cecilia. I need to be a better listener.
I need to be a better listener.
I have not fixed this by myself in years.
Say that again. See, listening.
I have not fixed this by myself in years.
I am not fixing this by myself, or I haven't fixed this by myself in years.
Who am I kidding? I'm not going to fix this by myself in the future.
Who am I kidding? I'm not going to fix this by myself in the future.
I need help.
I need help.
And it's okay.
And it's okay.
Let's hear it for her. Very good. All right, now we all need a little help, and it's okay. You're all going to raise your right hand. You're going to talk to your fine partner. You're going to say, partner, my name is. You're going to think of that one thing you haven't fixed in years. You can say, partner, my name is. I need to get better at. I haven't fixed this by myself in years. Who am I kidding? I'm not going to fix this by myself in the future. I need some help, and it's okay. Oh, by the way, and if you cannot think of even one thing you do need to improve, pick humility. Okay. Okay, raise your right hand. Raise that right hand. Talk to your partner. Go, go, go. Okay, stop. Now, I'm going to share a very handy little model to help you plan your life. You can use this to coach others, work with teams. It's called the Wheel of Change. As we journey through life, think of 2 dimensions, negative, positive, keep, and change. 4 different ways to look at planning your life. First is creating. I want you to think about who's that new me I want to create. The second one is preserving. What is it about the old me I want to keep or preserve? The third was eliminating. What do I need to get rid of here? And then finally, that 4th one is accepting. What do I just need to make peace with? I may not like it. I'm not going to change it. I just need to make peace with. Now, if we look at each of these, I'll talk about how we can use this in planning our life. The first one is creating. Now, before we talk about creating the new you, how do you know who the old you is? Well, we all have an identity. Our identity comes from the way that a variety of factors, the past, future, other self, 4 sources of our identity. The first one is called our remembered identity. Let's imagine you think you're a bad tennis player. Okay, how do you know? She has memories of losing these tennis matches. These memories shape her identity. That becomes her remembered identity. Reflected identity. You think you're a bad listener. How do you know? People told you you're a bad listener over the years. You heard these comments, and after a while, these reflections become your identity. Here's the one we're going to spend more time on, specifically with women's issues. our programmed identity. We've all been programmed to believe we're a certain person, oftentimes from birth. And these programs can dramatically impact the way we define ourselves as human beings. I'll start with myself and then we'll go to you. I'm from a small town in Kentucky called Valley Station, Kentucky. The middle school down the street from where I was born last year in Kentucky came in last place in academic achievement. Last place in Kentucky is bad. That means we were defeated by Appalachia. Okay? When you get your butt kicked by Appalachia in academic achievement, that is not good. The odds on me writing 3 New York Times bestsellers from there would be roughly equivalent to a snowball's chance in hell. Yet when I was brought up, different programming from who? My mother. What did my mother say when I was a little boy? Marshall, you are smart. Did she say I was kind of smart? No, no, no. You're extremely smart. You are the smartest little boy in Valley Station, Kentucky. She also said, Marshall, you are going to college. This was never portrayed as a debate. I got the feeling if I did not go to college, she would kill me, all right? So it wasn't you might go to college or you can go. Oh, no, no, no. You are going to college. In fact, you can go to graduate school. How many people from my neighborhood ever got a PhD before? That would be me. Now, my dad had a little gas station. Did Mom want me working in the gas station? Ooh, I don't think so. So what did Mom tell me when I was growing up? She said, Marshall, you have no mechanical skills. And you will never have any mechanical skills for the rest of your life. Now, I got this message over and over and over. You have no mechanical skills. You will never have any mechanical skills. So how does this programming, I'm never encouraged to be around cars or tools or mechanical things. I don't learn. Now, my father, you have no mechanical skills. My friends, you have no mechanical skills. I grow up, they're talking about tools. I don't know what these tools are. They talk about a universal joint. I thought a universal joint was something people smoked. I'm 18 years old. I took a test, the United States Army Mechanical Aptitude Test. What score did I make on the United States Army Mechanical Aptitude Test? I scored in the bottom 2 percentile of the entire United States. For those of you with a background in mathematics, I was defeated by random chance. Now, it was no longer my mother saying, you have no mechanical skills, or my father. It was the United States Army, a staff of trained psychologists all got together to prove you have no mechanical skills. Did I doubt this? Of course not. It's not till I'm 26 years old, I'm getting a PhD at UCLA, that I challenge this. I take a class from old Dr. Tannenbaum. Hands out 2 pieces of paper. On one paper, things I do well. What did I write? Scholarly pursuits, research, smart, smart, smart. Other paper, what did I write? I have no mechanical skills. I will never have any mechanical skills. He said, how do you know you have no mechanical skills? I said, it's hopeless. I took a test. He said, how are your mathematical skills? Oh, perfect score on the SAT Math Achievement Test, 9 courses of math past calculus, excellent mathematical skills. He said, why is it you can solve complex mathematical problems, but you can't solve even simple mechanical problems? Good point. He said, how's your hand-to-eye coordination? I guess it's okay. I could play pinball game, shoot pool, drink beer. He said, why is it you could play pinball game and shoot pool, but you can't hammer nails? I was 26 years old. I realized I had no mechanical skills. I was told I had no mechanical skills. I believed I had no mechanical skills. And after a while, it wasn't the United States Army telling me I had no mechanical skills. Who was telling me this? As long as we say to ourselves, we're not going to change. I see this every day when I coach CEOs. Sometimes I'll coach a CEO. She'll say, I can't listen. I've never been able to listen. I can't listen. Look in her ears. Well, why can't you listen? Is there something stuck in there? Or I'm no good at recognition. Are you genetically mean? Well, why are you no good at recognition? Well, why? Because we just keep telling ourselves over and over and over. And as long as we tell ourselves this, guess what? It's probably going to be true. And when I coach people, I've learned this is very important. Let's assume I'm coaching you, Robin, and she wants to get better at giving recognition. And I coach her for a year, and everyone around her says she gets better, and I get paid. If I don't have her think about our identity on the inside, you know what she feels like? A phony. That's not really me. That's not really me. See, the real me is no good at that. I just learned to act like someone who's good at giving recognition. Now, let me give an example. I was working in a hospital. Most of the people in the room are women, mostly nurses. and ask them a question. I didn't understand first the importance of siblings, brothers and sisters, because I didn't have a brother or sister, and my wife didn't have a brother or sister. So if you don't have siblings, you don't understand siblings so much. Now they've been working to help people with their identity, and siblings are important. Many of us have an identity that's shaped largely by the way our parents defined us relative to our brothers or sisters. She's the smart one, the stupid one, the good one, the hardworking one, the lazy one, whatever, something like that. I was working in a hospital, and I asked a question. How many of you were brought up to believe you were the responsible one? Everyone in the room raised their hands. They were all the responsible one. Well, we talked about the good side of being the responsible one, which there's a lot of good to that. But then some of them said, I'm still the responsible one. I'm taking care of my parents, taking care of my children, taking care of my brothers and sisters. They got to have more fun than me. They knew if they screwed up, I'd take care of it. I get sick of being responsible. Well, there's nothing wrong with being responsible. The problem is when you feel like you always have to be responsible. How many of you have been brought up to believe you're the caregiver here? Caregiver, yeah. Well, you know, nothing wrong with being a caregiver sometime. Just hard to be the caregiver all the time. Sometimes it's important to look at life and say, who's this me I've been brought up to believe I'm supposed to be? Then ask yourself a question. Do I have to carry that around the rest of my life? Do I really have to carry that around the rest of my life? Or maybe I can be something a little bit different. And by the way, without being a hypocrite or a phony. One night I got to have dinner with the famous rock star Bono. Do all of you know the rock star Bono? Yeah. I didn't really know about his music because, you see, it was recorded after 1975. So I had dinner with the famous rock star Bono, and we talked about his identity. And now I'll talk about created identity. His first identity was a regular guy, not pretentious, just a regular person. He's still very much a regular guy. In our conversation, he used the F word about every third word. He apologized to me. He said, I'm sorry, sir, I shouldn't use such bad language. I said, you know, Mr. Bono, I was brought up in Valley Station, Kentucky. I thought the F word was the adjective that preceded all nouns. So it really doesn't bother me that much, right? Well, then he became a music fan. He talked about still being a music fan, how much he loved groups and stuff. And then he became a musician. He talked about how much he loved doing that, not just for money, but with his family and everything. And then he became a rock star. He talked about being a rock star, and he wasn't bragging or showing off. That's just who he is, right? Then he said, now I want to be a humanitarian. I want to help people. He just got crapped on for it. Just people dumped all over him. Who are you, phony rock star? Who do you think you are trying to help people, you know? Finally, he said, to heck with it. If I want to help people that are starving, I'm sick of apologizing for it. They don't really care that I'm a rock star if I help them eat. Well, he's a guy that changed his identity. He's not a hypocrite or a phony. That's really who he is. Well, any of us can change. We don't have to be that person we've been all those years. We can always be something a little bit different. Now, you're going to talk to your partner. I want you to think about historically the way you've defined yourself. I've been the hardworking one, the good one, the smart one, the stupid one, the whatever, pretty one, whatever it is. Not necessarily a bad thing, but then challenge yourself. Is there one little change I can make so moving forward my life is a little better? Maybe I don't have to carry around the same drama over and over and over for the rest of my life. Does that make sense to everybody? Talk to your partner. How have you been defined, and what's one change you can make? Go, 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 go. So what's one for you? At home.
Oh.
Go home for, you know, tonight, I'm not going to take care of anybody.
Get your own stuff.
Cook your own damn dinner.
Cook for me.
let's don't go too far. How about you? What's one for you?
Always been the responsible one. I'm the oldest.
Yeah.
You know, and I should always know better.
Yeah.
I hated hearing that all the time when I was
Guilt.
young. Yeah. You're the oldest. You should know better.
Guilt.
So I made sure I never said that to my oldest.
But you still hear that voice in your head.
Oh, yeah.
You know
and
what?
So the way I would
I don't know better and I don't care.
Yeah, really.
There you go.
Who cares? And I don't care. Okay, stop. Shh. And again, two people I did talk to, they were both in this caregiver responsible thing, you know. I had a little suggestion. Tuesday evening, take a break. Whoever's at home, cook your own damn food. And then she said, tell him to cook for me. I said, let's don't go too far. Now, the final element, I'm not going to talk about that whole quadrant, but the final one is called accepting. Now, what I'm going to teach you next is going to be very important to help you have a happier life and be a better decision maker. Are you ready? The wonderful Peter Drucker, greatest management thinker in history. I was on his advisory board 10 years. He taught me so many lessons. I got ranked #1 leadership thinker last year. Compared to him, I have the intellect of a 10-year-old. This guy was so smart. One great lesson he taught me, our mission in life is to make a positive difference. Not to prove how smart we are and not to prove how right we are. My mission in life is to make a positive difference, not to prove how smart we are, prove how right we are. Then he said, second learning point, every decision in life is made by the person who has the power to make the decision. Make peace with that. Make peace with that. Not the best person, or the smartest person, or a fair person, or a good person. Every decision in life is made by the person who has the power to make the decision. Make peace with that. Then he said, if I need to influence her, and she has the power to make the decision, one word to define her, customer. One word to define me, salesperson. She doesn't have to buy. Have to sell. Sell what you can sell. Change what you can change. And make peace with what you cannot change. And make peace with what you cannot sell. Most of us never deeply understand this point. Have any of you ever had the following thoughts before? Let's take this table. Look up here. Have any of you had these thoughts? I am amazed that someone at that level, talking about big, powerful, important people, I am amazed that someone at that level, followed by so stupid or weird or crazy or acts like an idiot. Have any of you had such thoughts in the past? Yeah. By the way, look up here. How many of the women in the room have had these thoughts before? I'm amazed that someone at that level, followed by is weird, crazy, stupid. Now I'm going to point out to all of you, these thoughts make no sense. Are you ready? How many people in the room before today have ever read a history book? History book. Now, in the history of the world, have most people at those exalted levels of money, status, and power, have they been mostly women or men over the years? Who most of them been? Younger, a little bit older. Is there anything in the entire history of this world that would lead you to believe when you take old men, you give them huge amounts of money and status and power, they begin to act incredibly sane and rational? Did any of you read that book? How about you? Did you read that book? Now, of course, that's other countries. In the United States, no crazy people here would ever achieve high levels of power and status, not in this country. Well, learning point. Before you deal with any topic, ask yourself one question. Am I willing at this time to make the investment required to make a positive difference on this topic? Am I willing at this time to make the investment required to make a positive difference? The answer is yes, go for it. The answer is no, take a deep breath, let it go. Change what you can change and make peace with what you can't. Let me give you an example. Tonight I'm going to my home in New York City. I have a home there, my second home. I have a condominium. One of my neighbors in New York was a young woman. Her name, Lindsay Lohan. Now, how many of you have heard of Lindsay Lohan before? How many millions of hours around the world have been spent with people reading that Lindsay Lohan got drunk, and Lindsay Lohan got stoned, and she was in a car wreck? How many millions of hours have been spent on people reading about Lindsay Lohan? What a waste. Look up here. I'm going to help you. If you ever think my neighbor, Lindsay Lohan, is a loser, please remember one thing. She is not wasting her life reading about you. You're not going to change Lindsay Lohan. You're not going to change politicians. You're not going to change athletes. You're not going to change any of those people. Just take a deep breath. Focus on one thing. Where can I make a difference? Where can I make a difference? And just do that. In my older years, you know, my kind of goals have gone down and down and down. My level of impact's gone up and up and up. I quit worrying about what I'm not going to change. I hate to say it, but global climate warming, I'm probably not going to do too much about it. How about curing cancer? I think I'll take a pass on that one. And a lot of world problems, I'm probably not going to change a whole lot. How about Donald Trump? His old Donald called me in to help him out. Not really, no. Probably not going to change Donald either. Going older, how about if I help one or two of you have a little better life? That's good enough for me. I'm declaring victory on that one. Well, focus on what can I do, not what I can't do. We can spend forever on what we're not going to change. Who cares? The world doesn't get better because we fixate on that. Just focus on what we can't change. That's good enough. Does this make sense? Now, I'm going to finish with the part that she talked about. I'm going to first teach you the daily question process, then I'm going to cover the part just for women. Okay, are we ready? First, the daily question process. It takes 3 minutes a day, help you get better at anything. Look into the eyes of your partner. Look into the eyes of your partner. I want you to imagine your partner is going to call you on the phone every day for the rest of your life. Every day for the rest of your life. Your partner is going to call you on that phone every day. Now, I pay a woman to call me every day. Every day she listens to me read questions I wrote and provide answers I wrote every day. Again, why do I do this? What I'm going to teach you next is going to be real easy to understand. It is hard to do. Most of us can't do this beyond 10 days. Half the people drop out in 10 days. This is called the daily question process. Every day, and here's your homework assignment, you're going to get out an Excel spreadsheet. On one column, you're going to write down a series of questions that represent what's most important in your life. 7 boxes across, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Every question has to be answered with a yes, a no, or a number. Yes is recorded as a 1, no is a 0, or a number. At the end of the week, that Excel spreadsheet will give you a report card. I'm going to warn all of you in advance. That report card at the end of the week might not be quite as beautiful as that corporate values plaque you got stuck up on the wall. When you do this every day, you learn something very quickly. Life is incredibly easy to talk. Life is incredibly difficult to live. And when you do this every day, you don't learn about your talk behavior. You learn about your live behavior. That's seldom as pretty as that talk behavior. Now, I'm going to share some of the questions I ask myself every day. You don't need to write these down. If you want all of my questions, send me an email, marshall@marshallgoldsmith.com. I'll send you all my questions, that article about the process. What's one of my questions every day? How many times yesterday did you try to prove you were right when it was not worth it? I almost never scored a 0 my whole life. Kind of hard for that old professor not to be right all the time. How about my young engineers? Ever try to be right just a little bit too much? How many angry or destructive comments did you make about people yesterday? Well, we say we want to treat people with respect. Why do we keep stabbing them in the back? How many minutes did you write? Those books, they don't write themselves. Did you say or do something nice for your wife, your son, your daughter, your son-in-law, grandchildren? Well, we say we love these people. What are we doing to communicate that to them? My friend Jim Moore does this, would tell you this saved his life. It didn't kind of save his life or sort of save his life. It did save his life. Was one of his questions every day. Are you currently updated on your physical exam? First 90 days he did this. He said no every day. After 90 days he said, this is embarrassing. I got to get the dumb exam or quit asking. He got the dumb exam. What did the doctor say? You have cancer. Now that was many years ago. He's going to be fine. The doctor also said, had you waited 7 more months, you would have been dead. He knew he should have got the exam. He was 65 years old. He's not a stupid man. He knew he should have done it. He didn't do it. Everyone look up here. How many of the women in this room have ever avoided a physical exam before and told yourself, I'm going to get that exam after I go on my healthy food diet and begin my exercise program? Come on, get these hands up. Get these. Did we trick the doctor with that strategy? Are we fooling our families? I was teaching at the University of Michigan. This man raised his hand. I said, sir, did you trick the doctor with that strategy? He looked at me and goes, I am the doctor. Well, I want you to talk to your partner. What's one question you should challenge yourself with every day? You're going to say, here's one I should test myself on every day. You say, here's one for me. You go back and forth until I say stop. To your marks, get set, go! Talk to your partner. Talk, talk, talk.
Trying to go forward, backward, or?
Forward, yeah.
You go resync
it. Okay, stop, stop, stop. Now, here's your homework assignment. Get out that spreadsheet, write down your questions. I'm going to teach you one final thing my daughter Kelly taught me, my daughter the professor. My daughter professor said, Daddy, you ought to teach people something called an active question. Because if you ask a passive question and we get a bad score, we blame the environment. For example, the term employee engagement, almost everything is passive questions. Do you have clear goals? Do you have meaningful work? Do you have a friend at work? When you ask people passive questions, they have a negative answer, they blame the environment. Do you have clear goals? No, why not? Well, they're confused. Do you have meaningful work? No, they make me do trivia. Do you have a friend at work? No, they're idiots. No, no. Whose fault is it? Them. Kelly taught me asking active questions. Now, my first 6 questions every day, I'm going to highly recommend for you. Here are my first 6 questions every day. Question number 1, did I do my best to set clear goals? Not did somebody set clear goals for me. Did I do my best today to set my own goals? Number 2, did I do my best to make progress toward achieving my own goals? Rather than did somebody help me achieve my own goals, did I do my best to achieve my own goals? Number 3, did I do my best to be happy? Not did somebody else make me happy. Did I do my best to be happy? Oh, sir, do you have the clicker? Sir. Oh, he's working on it. Number 4, did I do my best to find meaning? Not did somebody give me meaning. Number 5, did I do my best to build positive relationships? Rather than saying, do you have a friend at work? Were you the friend? And finally, number 6, did I do my best to be fully engaged? Rather than saying, did someone else engage me? Did I do my best to engage myself? We've done research from thousands of people around the world. Just asking these 6 questions every day and testing yourself every day, people get better at almost everything. Why? Every day the questions get me to focus not on what I cannot change. They get me to focus on what I can change. And in life, what is the one thing in life I have total control over? Did I do my best? Did I do my best? We can't change all that other stuff anyway. The one person I can be responsible for is me. Now, as promised, I'm going to finish with my final 10 minutes. This is the 10 minutes she talked to you about. The part where I kick out the men. We have a couple of men here in the room, but I don't think I'm going to kick them out. What do you think? Should we leave them in? What the heck? Men, leave the men in. Now, by the way, let's hear it for these brave men. Leave the men in here. Now, men, the next 10 minutes is going to be focused on material that's exclusively, usually interesting only to women. So no matter how bored you are for the next 10 minutes, you're going to pretend to be interested. In other words, fake it. Women have been doing this for years. Now it's your turn. Okay, are we ready? Now for our final 10 minutes. For the next 10 minutes, we're going to have 4 rules. And I'm going to be watching you like a hawk. If you cannot follow these 4 rules, out. And I will warn you in advance, for many of you, it may be difficult to follow the 4 rules. Are we ready? For the next 10 minutes, rule number 1, you cannot attempt to learn something. Put that pencil down. I see you taking notes. Drop that pencil. But put it down. You cannot attempt to learn something for the next 10 minutes. Look up here. Put those pencils down. No machines. It's going to get a little bit more difficult. Rule 2. For the next 10 minutes, you cannot try to become more productive. It's going to get a little harder. For the next 10 minutes, you cannot think about becoming a better person. And finally, the hard one. For the next 10 minutes, you cannot even consider helping others. I want you to spend 10 minutes, just 10 minutes, and focus on one thing, your own happiness and self-acceptance. Just 10 minutes. I did this with a large group of women in India. 2 women just broke down. They didn't just start crying. They lost it. Nobody ever gave them 10 minutes. Many of you already have tears in your eyes. I want you to imagine a group of men. If I said, men, now boys, no matter how difficult it may be, men, for the next 10 minutes, we must focus only on your own happiness and self-acceptance. How many men have tears in their eyes? You know, they're thinking, shit, let's spend all day on that topic. Look at them laughing over there. Well, most of the men are looking at me going, has there ever been another topic? Well, it's not that women are better or worse or men are better or worse for most men. This is really not their problem. This is really not their problem. So we're going to spend 10 minutes focus on your own happiness and self-acceptance. Now, I'm a Buddhist. You mentioned mindfulness. I'm a Buddhist. Buddha said, only do what I teach if it works for you. And he also said, every time I take a deep breath, it's a new me. Every time I take a deep breath, it's a new me. So I want you all to look up here. I want everybody to smile. I want you to take a deep breath, your hand like this. I want you to think, new me, hand. Smiling, new me, new me, new me, new me. Everything that happened before this second in your life was done by an infinite set of women. You know what their names were? The previous me's, the previous yous. I want all of you to close your eyes. Think about the previous yous. That infinite set of women. Think about all the gifts those women have given to the you that is sitting in this room right now. Think about all they did to help people. Think how hard all those women tried. Open your eyes. If any group of women did that many nice things, what should you say to those nice women? Thank you, thank you, thank you. I want you to do your hand like this and just say, thank you, thank you, thank you. Now, did those women make a little mistake or two? Look up here, smile. Who is the first person we need to learn to forgive? I've asked thousands of mothers around the world this question. I say, complete this sentence with one word. When my child grows up, I want my child to be. One word comes up from mothers, more than every other word combined, no matter what country I'm in. What's that word? Happy. You want your children to be happy? You want your parents to be happy? You want the people who love you to be happy? You want the women that respect you to be happy? You go first. You go first. You be happy. Now, I want you to think of one person who makes you feel bad, guilty, angry, or crazy. Just one. If she is in the room, do not point at the person right now. I had that happen. Her, right? Can everybody come up with one person who makes you feel bad, guilty, angry, or crazy? Got one? Just one. Now, I have a question. How much sleep is that person losing over you tonight? That looks like a 0, a 0, a 0, a 0, and a bunch more 0. I have another question. Who's being punished? Who's doing the punishing? You don't have to like that person, respect that person, or agree with that person. Starting now, you're going to tell yourself, you are no longer going to make me feel bad. You know why? Life is too short. Two monks are walking down the road, and there's a woman by the stream, and she has on a beautiful silk dress, and she's crying. One monk comes over and says, why are you crying? She says, I have this beautiful silk dress my mother made, but I have to cross the stream to get to the wedding. I'm going to ruin my beautiful dress. I don't know what to do. Monk says, we can't help you. You can't even touch women. The other monk says, out of heck with the rules. Picks her up on the shoulder, carries her across the stream, and drops her off. Oh, she's happy. Thank you, nice monk. Thank you. The monk is happy, splashes back across the stream. His colleague, the other monk, is angry. You're a bad monk, a terrible monk, a disgusting bad monk. Wet monk says, why am I so bad? We're not supposed to even touch women. You pick that woman up carrying her about you, bad monk. What do you say for yourself? The wet monk says, shit happens. They walk back to the home of monks, all the way back. Bad monk, bad monk, bad monk. The wet monk drives off and goes to sleep. Middle of the night, his colleague is angry, wakes him up. You're a bad monk. Why am I bad? Because you carried that woman. Sleepy monk says, what woman? What woman was that? The angry monk says, the woman you carried across the stream. Sleepy monk says, oh, her? I only carried her across the stream. You carried her all the way back to the monastery. Some of you all been carrying some people around with you. I can see those people in your eyes. They don't make you happy. Next time you think about those people, take a deep breath. Leave them at the stream. I was teaching the women's class at Goldman Sachs. One of their top investment bankers raised her hand. She goes, excuse me. I call her, and she said, excuse me, could I please submerge them in the stream? Now, some final advice for life. Pick a path. It's your path. Pick a path, and as much as you can, have that path through life come from where? In your heart. Any path that you pick through life is going to have trade-offs. Make peace with those trade-offs. Make peace. And don't go through life doing this to yourself. Life is too short. One other thing for all the women in the room. You do not have to be a role model for every woman who has ever come before you or after you in the history of the world. Let go of that. Let go of that. Yeah. How many old men are sitting there every day saying, you know, I've got to be a role model for the other old white guys out here. I can guarantee you that thought never crosses their mind. You just show up. You do your best. You be a good person. You do the best you can do. And you know what? After that, make peace. You're not going to be perfect. Who cares? None of us are perfect. Just make peace. And don't be too hard on yourself. Final story. Farmer's rowing the boat up the Big Ride River. He looks up. Here comes another boat. The boat gets closer to his boat. The farmer says, be careful, be careful. You might hit my boat. It's such a big river. Splat. The boat hits his boat. The farmer's angry. You idiot, you fool. How could you hit my boat? It's such a big river. He looks in the other boat. Nobody's in the other boat. He's screaming at an empty boat that's just floating down the river. There is never anyone in the other boat. That person making you feel bad, crazy, and angry, getting upset with them for being who they are, makes about as much sense as getting upset with this table for being a table. A table can't help but be a table. That's what it is. Had that person's history, family, and life, you'd be that person. You don't have to like them or respect them. Next time you think about them, nobody's in the boat. Nobody's in the boat. Final coaching advice. This is the best coaching advice you're going to get in this or perhaps any other lifetimes. Everybody ready? Look up here for the last time. Smile. Deep breath and go, hand. I want you to imagine that you're 95 years old and you're just getting ready to die. You're on that deathbed. Right before you take that last breath, you are given a beautiful gift, the ability to go back in time. The ability to go back in time and talk to the woman sitting in this room. The ability to help this woman have a better life. What advice would that wise 95-year-old you, who knows what mattered in life and what didn't, and what was important and what wasn't, what advice would that wise old woman have for the you that is sitting in this room right now? You don't have to say anything, do anything, write anything. Just answer that question in your mind. What advice would she have for you? Whatever you're thinking now, do that. In terms of a performance appraisal, that's the only one that matters. That old woman says you did the right thing, you did. That old woman says you're screwed up. You did. You don't have to impress anybody else. Some friends of mine interviewed old folks who are dying and got to ask this question: what advice would you have? On the personal side, 3 themes. Theme number 1, 3 words. Be happy now. Not next week, not next month, not next year. Be happy now. Hey, Gray Western disease, I'll be happy when? When I get the money, status, BMW, condominium, I will be happy when. We all have the same when. That old person is when. Learning point from old people: I got so busy chasing what I didn't have, I never appreciated what I did have. And I had everything. Many of you are among the luckiest people that ever lived. Many of you have friends and you have family and you have health. Compared to me, you have youth. You got it all. Don't get so busy chasing what you don't have, you can't see it. Learning point number 2 from old people facing death: friends and family. I'm sure many of you work for nice companies. When you're 95 years old and you look around your deathbed, none of your coworkers are waving goodbye. You realize these friends and family, they're the only people who care today. And learning point 3, if you have a dream, go for it. If you don't go for it when you're 40, you may not when you're 50, and you probably won't when you're 80. It doesn't have to be a big one, maybe a little one. Go to New Zealand, speak Spanish, play a guitar. Other people think your dream is goofy. Who cares? It's not their dream, it's your dream. It's not their life, it's your life. Had a very embarrassing experience 2 years ago. I was teaching this class and I said, go to New Zealand, speak Spanish. A guy raised his hand, he goes, we're in Spain, you idiot. We all speak Spanish. Business advice is much different. Number 1, life is short. Have fun. Number 2, do whatever you can do to help people. Help each other. If you look at the research about women, one of the things you can do is help each other. You could show off, pretend you're smarter than everyone else or better than them or whatever. Why? None of us have too many friends. Look around the room. Maybe some of these women be your friends someday, or your boss, or your direct report, or your customer, or supplier. Who cares? Just do whatever you can do to have good relationships with people. And the main reason to do it has nothing to do with money or status or getting ahead. The main reason is a 95-year-old you will be proud of you because you did, and disappointed because you don't. Final advice also saying, go for it. Your worlds are changing, your business is changing. Do what you think is right. May not win, at least you tried. Old people, we almost never regret the risk we take and fail. We always regret the risk we fail to take. And the final thing is, it's been an honor to work with you today. Hope you found our time together to be practical and useful. Hopefully help you have just a little bit better life.